Me, 24F, am getting suspicious of my husband, 25M, on what he does every Saturday night. I am not op. Original post by you, throw RA what hap in our relationship advice. An NBSP. Me, 24F, am getting suspicious of my husband, 25M, on what he does every Saturday night, February 7, 2023. I have been with my husband for 5 years to be precise. Married for 2. I have known since like the first month of our relationship that he was the man for me. He always makes me happy. Smile. Be intrigued by him. Is there for me when I need him. And all that stuff. But for a year now he always goes with his friends, drinking every Saturday. And returns late. Late as in 6 a.m. or even later. I always wake up as he comes home. Though weirdly he never sounds like he is drunk at all. Although I have not heard him being incredibly drunk as long as I have known him, so maybe that is a me thing. Anyway, these friends of his always come by our house 7 p.m. sharp. I think there have been like 3 times or so that they haven't been here by 7 p.m. And when I mean 7 p.m. sharp, I mean not a minute later. And even when they have been later, it has at most been like 5 minutes only. They never address me unless I speak to them first, and the 3 of them always speak rather quiet. Instead of a more party-going spirit. It's really weird as to me, you just get a weird vibe standing there with them. My husband is already dressed by the time they come, so they leave in like a minute or 2, and then as I mentioned, my husband comes back alone at 6 a.m. or so. At times I have asked to come along because I grew suspicious they may be going to shady places. Like a strip club of some sort, because my husband never sounded drunk. But also never went alone. Unless these friends covered for him. You see, my husband has cheated on me once. But it was in the first year of our relationship, and at the time he claimed to be immensely depressed because a lot of his family members died that year and he couldn't confide in me because I was abroad for most of that year unless there was a vacation that I then spend with him, because I knew it was a hard time for him. I knew that while not a good reason necessarily, people make bad decisions when they are left to grieve by their own. So after something we both agreed to move on and forget all about it. Until this year when he all of a sudden made these friends of his and has been spending every Saturday night with them, supposedly. When I did break under the pressure of not knowing what he was doing, I did begin to ask things like, "Can I scroll to your phone for a second?" Or almost interrogating him by asking what things he was doing the whole night and why he always came back so late. He always casually gave the phone to me with no problems, and I couldn't find anything even after scrolling on like 5 separate times. I knew I was going too far, but he somehow didn't mind and said he had nothing to hide. However, this also is where the weird stuff begins to show itself. He doesn't have any real conversations with these friends of his beside the one message saying they are coming for him on Saturday night every week between 6 o'clock and 6:30 p.m. They all message him this at this 30-minute interval every week and have no conversations nor a reply from my husband back to them of any sort. I have also asked to tag along, but this has almost always been denied. And when I was allowed to come 2 times, we just went to the bar and drank like he said he would. His friends still didn't talk to me unless I spoke to them first, and they barely drank anything. Maybe like 3 to 5 beers, and that was it. Then at 5:30 we all went our separate ways, and me and my husband would go home. Him also only drinking like 4 beers or so. Nothing of note happens, which just makes it feel even weirder. Especially when my husband just casually talks to me but barely speaks to his supposed friends at all. And when they do, it almost feels like no energy is being put into the conversation. Just casual talk like you would do with a coworker. Nothing like anyone else I have seen go to a bar with friends do. There just isn't any excitement or fun to speak of. And the times where I do get to tag along, it always had to be a week in advance as well. Never on the day where his friends are at my door. I'm telling you, it is just the weirdest thing to me. And I don't know if I am just crazy because I think something is up, or there actually is something going on that I just cannot get a grasp on. Any advice would be appreciated very much. TLDR. I'm getting suspicious of husband of what he does every Saturday night. An NBSP. An NBSP. Me. 24F. Am getting suspicious of my husband. 25M. On what he does every Saturday night. Update. February 8, 2023. This is an update for the post I made yesterday on Reddit asking people what my husband could be doing on Saturday night every week. Just to address some things quickly. We have a shared account in terms of fiancés, which nothing is up with in any way. I have talked with his friends, and as I said before, they just feel generic and don't seem to want to talk to me since they never engage with me, and when they answer me they keep it short. Could be that is how they are, but it all just feels odd to me. We live in the Netherlands and not in the US. He met these new friends after having met them with his old drinking group of friends. I have talked with my husband twice on what he is actually doing when he goes drinking with them all the time, and I haven't gotten any important info outside of just drinking at the bar and then going to a friend's house until they stop drinking response. The friends of his dress casually. No suits or anything like that. Make of that what you will too. When he goes out he always uses cash, and it is like $30-50 normally that he brings. Though if he doesn't drink more than when I went with them, he couldn't possibly use it all up. Unless he is buying for them as well. He has had no problems going on vacations, but if I ask if we can go on a Saturday to do something together, it always is a week in advance as well that he can do so, and it probably has been about 6 times last year that he did so. Otherwise we do stuff on Fridays. He is also kinda reluctant to do so if it is not a vacation. His friends have never really been in our house, as they always stand by the front door. They don't seem to care to be in the house whatsoever. My husband is a construction worker. The other 3 are IT, engineer, and a carpenter. No strange jobs or anything like that. Or a job that would require them to work Saturday or Sunday. So after a lot of suggestions I went with the safest, but also not really harming my husband in any way, shape or form one. Which was also one of first things recommended, which was checking for any addresses on Google Maps and seeing if there was anything on there. When he was asleep I took his phone from the nightstand and went into the toilet and locked the door of said toilet. Then opened the app only to find nothing on it. If there was anything ever on it was probably erased or lost to time in some sort of update or something. So that was no use. I searched some more until I found a navigation app that I don't remember seeing the last time I had his phone. About 2 months ago. I opened the app up and sure enough there were about 20 locations searched for, along with one marked as in saved location for quick access. Most of the places were normal places you would go to though, or places where I know he told me he would go for work. Or a bar I know they go to, supposedly. The ones that actually caught my eye were 5 odd ones. And one of them was the marked one. The 4 searched for ones were of random houses 1 to 2 hours away from us. In really small places I didn't even know existed or barely remembered at all. I have no clue why these locations were searched or if he went there, of what his business there could be if he did go. So that was really odd. The marked place was in the forest not too far from here. It is about a 20-minute drive, give or take. We have been there on multiple occasions, but I don't know why he would have one marked for navigation. He knows the forest pretty well because we have gone numerous times with just the 2 of us or with friends. I have no clue what navigation could help him in a place like that. It seems to be a little outside of where the middle of that forest should be. Maybe I'm really anxious at this point, but it didn't seem to make much sense to me. Anyway, nothing else of use I could find on his phone, so I took the phone and put it right back on his nightstand. As far as I can tell, he was still sleeping soundly. He always was a heavy sleeper. When I woke up, he was gone off to work, and I am now writing this just having finished cooking for the day. He will be home soon from the gym. About 30 minutes. I am thinking that if I still want to do more, I may have to either hire a pie or try to track them with a tracker or follow them myself. Though that will have to wait until Saturday to make any progress. I have also not found anything that could indicate a different phone, bank account, or anything suspicious on our computer. So once again, at the moment, I am at a dead end. If any of you have any suggestions, I'm all ears, I guess. TLDR. Am suspicious of what my husband does every Saturday night. Update. An NBSP. An NBSP. I. 24F. Feel like I have been wrong about everything that my husband, 25M, has been doing every Saturday night, February 13th, 2023. So, where to even begin? It has been a few days since I last updated all of you. A couple things have happened, and I wanted to wait until after Saturday to post anything. Though that got a little delayed. I got a lot of private DMs asking how I was doing or anxiously waiting for an update. And while I appreciate the sentiment, it did get annoying feeling even more pressured than I was already feeling about it all, and constantly get DMs asking what I was doing or how this or that went, or if I did this or that. I know you all meant well, but it definitely didn't help after a certain point and just got annoying and pressuring. Anyway, I guess I'll start at the beginning, which was Thursday all the way to Sunday. I'll try to keep it as brief as I think it can be without actually leaving something out. So, Thursday came along and I went to work like usual. People asked if I can drive, and I can, though my husband takes the car for work always, as he can be pretty far away depending on what construction site he is working at. So I take the bike to my job. It is about 20 minutes, so nothing special or anything. I got home, relaxed for about 30 minutes before I decided to call my husband's former drinking group and see if they knew anything more than I did about his new friend group, or why he barely drinks with them anymore. Probably about every 2-3 months he has gone out with them instead of his other friend group. Though this was always on Fridays and not Saturdays. One of the guys told me that my husband told them he just didn't have time to drink with both of them, and he wanted to go with his new group drinking more than with the old one he always went with. So nothing of importance there. They also said they didn't know the 3 guys, as they had been with a bunch of other guys who began sitting at their table acting pretty drunk. He said it was kinda irritating, but they were kinda drunk themselves at the time, so they didn't mind too much. They didn't see any of the guys after that. Especially the 3 my husband is always drinking with now. He said they would probably recognize them, especially if my husband was with them. After that, the day went as normal until Friday came along, and after work I went to the marked spot that was on the navigation app of my husband. For anyone who was worried, I didn't go alone. I went with 2 of my best GFs and told them my husband could have potentially hidden something around here in the forest as a little game for Valentine's Day, and that my Valentine's gift could be on the marked spot he showed me. Of course, this wasn't fully the truth, but I couldn't think of anything better to tell them. They found it odd, but they went along with it purely because it would be seen as a fun girls' day out, and making a contest out of whoever could find the Valentine's gift first. The 3 of us walked to around where the spot should be. A quite part of the forest here where not a lot of people walk by, as it is not a hiker's path and there is nothing to really do or see except a flat clearing with some water and trees sprinkled here and there. I don't think I have seen people come by here at all when I have been here. Because as I said, there is nothing there to see or do. Said it was kinda in surprise when I saw about 10 men standing around talking with each other there. It felt kinda awkward searching for probably nothing with all those people around, and at this point, I was thinking of just going home again and just try to make myself forget about everything. Edit 1. People have said this was suspicious, and honestly, even with me wanting to be done with this and like roll over or hire a pie somehow, you all have convinced me that I shouldn't give up at least yet. No matter how much I want to. I guess just pull a little more. It began being even more awkward when I felt people staring at me, and sometimes even blatantly doing so. Suffice to say, we didn't find anything, and I felt like the biggest moron, thinking I had finally lost my mind. After some more walking around the forest afterwards, we decided to go home again, and on our way back saw the youngest drinking friend of my husband, and to my shock he actually began the conversation with me for the first time. He asked me how I had been and told me he was here for some late night fishing that he does here from time to time. It honestly felt nice just having a small conversation for once with one of them. About 5 minutes of talking later he left, and my GFs asked me if that was one of them. I said yes, and was surprised that he, for the first time mind you, actually talked to me first and asked me how I was doing and just basic stuff like that. Edit 2. People have said this was super sus. I agree. I was so happy that one of them finally talked to me of his own accord while feeling he was interested into talking with me that I let this get to my head too much. I want to believe this was genuine. But with so many people saying it was not, I'm beginning to feel I was a fool for thinking so. Old text. It made me feel even worse though at the same time, because I felt everything that I thought could be weird or a bad thing that my husband could be doing was just all in my head. Saturday came along and my husband anxious the whole day. He then told me it was because he had gotten into a verbal fight with his friends over a disagreement over something, and that they wouldn't show up any time soon if ever again. And sure enough, for the first time aside from us not being there, they didn't show up. Edit 3. At the time this felt unreal with how much they had always come, so I began to feel I was just making it all up. But seeing as so many people tell me otherwise makes me feel that doing it alone and stressing so much is maybe what makes it all feel even more crazy than it is. And makes me not want to accept it. That there definitely is something here. My husband and I snuggled under the blanket while watching a movie together Saturday. And honestly nothing more has happened since then. Edit 4. Honestly, I'm tired of trying to play detective and the strain I have put on myself. Still, I'm thankful for all of you making me feel at least not crazy. I want to believe so bad that nothing is up and it is all in my head. It is like placing a placebo effect on yourself, making what you think is real actually real to you. TLDR. Weird stuff happening in the forest, and probably back on trying to find the solution of what my husband, 25M, has been doing on Saturday night. 24F. An NBSP. An NBSP. Reminder, I am not the original poster. They're burying beans in the forest, obviously. Her husband, the one that she said she knew immediately as the man for her, cheated on her in the first year because he was upset. Has a bunch of guy friends who don't talk to her or come into her house. They also don't speak together with her present. 10 men in his saved forest location. And they're staring at her. Guy friends cut the husband out after a verbal fight. After the forest hunt, he was definitely cheating on her with men. So the new friends cut the husband out of whatever they were doing. It was gay sex, right? Because the wife got too close. WTF did I just read? ETA. It's the wife's la 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 going to stick my head back in the sand, and not really ever demanding answers when this has been going on so long that has me going WTF. I mean, 90% of the time if not more. The answer is sex or drugs or both because the list of other possibilities, while long, are vanishingly unlikely. Pokemon Go? No reason not to tell the wife. Stargazing? Invite the wife along. Wait, she said she told her GFs they are in the forest to search for Valentine gift clues. But then when the drinking friend talked to her GF asks if that's one of them. Where did the GF get any connection from, even if she told the GF about the husband's Seuss behavior? What? My money is on OOP's husbands group are all gay or bi and they spend their Saturday nights cruising the bars, woods, and people's homes for sex all night. A group of 10 men huddled in the woods? Sounds like a potential circle jerk to me. Gay cruising locations are well publicized online, so OOP can easily search those woods on the internet to learn if they are indeed an adopted playground for gay men. Further piquing my theory is the friends dropping him as soon as his wife and 2 other women showed up at their wooded playplace. That's a cardinal sin in the gay cruiser's etiquette book. Most of those men have str 8 inches lives and much to lose if their secret gets out, so they all look out for each other, and now OOP's hubby can't be trusted. BC, she is on their trail. Literally. Well, that's my guess anyway. I don't know why, but I would bet the place in the forest is the area dogging spot, and that's what the husband and his friends are doing on Saturday night. Geocaching enthusiast or burying the bodies? You decide. Maybe they asked him to hold onto a box of olives and he drew the line. I was waiting to find out about the husband's D&D group. This is me assuming the best in others. He is 100% in some kind of weird cult, fraternity or secret org like the Freemasons. The wife tracking down the spot is why he got kicked. He broke the code even unknowingly and is out of the club, hoping nothing more Seuss comes out. If my friend dragged me into an unknown part of a forest to hunt down her husband's potential freaky men's cult, but she told me we were on a romantic scavenger hunt, that would 100% be the end of that friendship. Now, if any of my friends said, I'm afraid my husband is potentially in a freaky men's cult that hangs out in the woods, will you come snoop around with me? I would 100% do it. That's the kind of thing you need to go into with open eyes, and lying about that isn't cool. This guy is gay, or bi, and cruising. That's what all the guys in the woods were doing. Hanging out for hookups. He was anxious because his friend told him his wife was at the spot, and he either decided to stop or the guys she spoke with felt guilty enough that he threatened to say something. Man, I really wanted to know what was going on. Should have checked the flare. Oh, you mean just when OOP was getting close to finding out what her husband was up to? He had a falling out with his friend group and they didn't go out? I sure would be sad to see the next update tell us that her husband has gone back to hanging out with his own friends at the bar and she'll never find out what was going on. This is a weird one. I don't even know what to think. People are saying cult, and I'm thinking gay hookup spot. Well, this is perplexing and very unsatisfying, but I am intrigued. Sounds like one of them weird forest orgies.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Aircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.